Welcome in to the PHNX Suns podcast, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. Guys, we're back again for the second time today because the news that we were thinking might take 48 hours took all of 4 minutes.
Not all of us. Not all of us.
I said today,
I said right off the bat that they would match. They'd be stupid not to match, and somebody wanted to disagree and be like, "Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so."
I didn't say they
you were absolutely wrong, Espo. You were wrong.
I'm happy to be wrong. Congratulations to Robert Sarver for finally not being a cheap ass. Since 2001, the Suns had only paid the luxury tax in 4 years and had paid a total of $15 million in luxury tax money. Now they've put their money where their mouth is. They're going to pay $15 million minimum this year in luxury tax. I said, I don't believe it till I see it. Well, congratulations. I've seen it. So I will applaud that the money is being spent.
James Jones.
I'm perfectly happy with that. You and I have always said DA coming back was the best thing.
James Jones is in full control over at that organization right now. He's in full control. Like I believe that now. Like I was kind of on the same fence as you, Espo, where I was like, well, I don't know, but I just felt like from a business standpoint, you would be an absolute moron to let your #1 pick walk out the door with not even so much as a second round pick in return. Jesus. And obviously they are not. So I just feel like James Jones, listen, the Suns played the market. And I feel like at the end of the day, as much as a lot of us had our hopes up on KD, and I still do, I haven't lost faith in that. It's the obstacles have gotten a little bit, a little bigger, if you will. But I still think that the Suns will get KD, and the Suns will be in a perfect position to win their first NBA championship.
Wait. Hold on. Did you just say you still think the Suns will get KD?
I still think the Suns will get KD.
Weren't you not so sure about that 2 hours ago?
After about 2 or 3 hours,
flops a lot.
I don't flip flop. Fuck you, Espo. I've been on the KD train since day fucking one. You just jumped on this bitch a week ago. Hell no. There's no way. You're not going to sit there and say I flip flop. No way.
Okay,
I'm sitting here saying that 2 or 3 hours ago, I was like, well, it makes it harder. And do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But after about 2 or 3 hours of thinking about it, I sat there and thought, you know what? No, they'll still get KD. Absolutely. They're still going to get KD. I feel better about it.
I got to turn down my volume.
Your game?
You guys are so
loud.
You've unlocked high-pitched Saul.
Yeah, you guys are so spicy. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So it's official. Well, not official on paper, but official per Shams Charania that the Phoenix Suns have matched the $133 million maximum offer sheet that the Indiana Pacers gave Deandre Ayton. And I tweeted out, I think a lot of us were tweeting basically after this tweet came through how quick this was. And then somebody had responded to me and was like, was it really that quick? Because it took about a year and some change to actually happen.
But
I laughed at.
I give them credit for matching it that quickly, because if you play the game and you wait until Saturday, what message does that send to Deandre Ayton if you were always planning on matching? You match it within seconds, and to me that says to DA, we wanted you here. We played the game. We saved a year on a contract. We weren't sure that the market would dictate this, but we're more than happy to pay you that, and we're going to do it within minutes of you signing that. We want you here. So hopefully that's the first step in you're part of this plan, and we want you here. And look, the Suns played the game. They played the business side of it. Now it's how do you make sure that you maximize DA on and off the court? And I think that's something that they'll be able to do as he gets over this indie stuff over the next couple of weeks, if that's really where he wanted to be. But I'm not sure that ever was necessarily the case. Maybe his agent was just playing the game too, knowing that he wanted to be back in Phoenix. So best case scenario we were saying this from the beginning. Deandre Ayton coming back was the best case scenario for this team. well, one thing down, and now you got to figure out what's the next domino to fall.
You know, I've been saying since the start, like the only way that the Suns could mess up this offseason was to let DA walk out the door and not get a superstar in return. And so the one thing that they could control was the fact that DA could return. And they've taken advantage of that. Now let's see how good James Jones. Listen, James Jones, I feel like he's a good GM. Is he a great GM? We're about to find out. We're about to find, because if he can find a way, and I won't even say KD. Let's just say this, because the Suns haven't really made a lot of noise in free agency. They brought in some minimal level guys. They've shored up some of their bench. Cool. But if he's able to find another piece or two to come into this team, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be KD, to create a shot when you need it, and be a more consistent outside shooter, then I think the Suns are right back, if not in a better position than they were a year ago. And that's a team that won 64 games. So I'm pretty pumped up about this. I really am.
Yeah, I just want to know where the guy who called me high earlier today is. Are you in our chat again? Because I feel like now everyone's on board with the idea that KD and DA could be here. And they're coming around, like Saul had kind of said. He sat with it for a few hours and was like, no, this is an actual possibility. And then we also have Flex from Jersey tweeted out just a little bit ago. The Suns handled that Ayton situation quickly and will continue their pursuit of KD. They can and are willing to deal with the tax bill that follows. They've been prepared for this situation the entire time. Nothing today was a shock or game changer at all. Stay tuned.
I still think this comes down to, does Kevin Durant go to the Nets and say, I refuse to come back? I will not play for you in any situation. If he does that, the Suns become the destination, and there's ways to do it. I mean, I put together quickly a trade, the trade machine. You send Jay Crowder, Torrey Craig, Mikal Bridges, and Cam Johnson, plus your 4 picks and 3 pick swaps. That gets it done. So they get 2 young core players, $15 million expiring, and draft capital that they can trade for other guys. Like, I think that's the kind of deal that could get it done if KD says, I'm not going to play again. And Flex has said this too. It's the Nets or the Suns. Those are the 2 options where KD will wind up next year. And if he says, I won't play for the Nets, then there's one option left on that list. And I think that's how it gets done. We did have one person, Alejandro, comment, or not, it wasn't Alejandro, it was look at me, said they saved millions. The tax alone will cost them the savings. That's not true. DA was going to make 30 plus million a year. If you add a 5th year on, the tax is 15 million. You're only paying half that. So they still did save money in signing DA to the 4-year max over the 5-year max that they could have offered him last summer.
Listen, if you're KD, this just makes it even better. If you're KD, you might end up on a team with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and yourself. Like, yes. You have a big to hold down the fort down low. You're a good defensive player yourself. Booker and CP3 are adequate defensive players. Booker's just getting better and better on that end. Like, and then the offense takes care of itself. I mean, let's be real. Like, just options aplenty. I just think if you're really serious, Kevin Durant, and you really want to come to the Phoenix Suns, the time is right now. And I feel like the Suns have put themselves in a position as well to not have to panic, not have to make a move that is going to be detrimental to your franchise, because now you have a core 4 at a minimum. That's the worst case scenario. You still have a core 4 with Devin Booker, DA, Mikal, and Cam. Even if you don't get KD, you're still in a good spot. You're still a mid to upper tier team in the NBA. You're going to be good for the next few years. You're fine. But right now, if you're Kevin Durant and if you're the Phoenix Suns, you have the opportunity to wait and force the Nets' hand when we get to training camp. And that's the best case scenario for the Suns if they were going to have 4 dominant players on the team. And I think they're positioning themselves right now for just that.
Okay, so we had someone in the chat. I'm trying to find it. Felix, can you detail how KD move is possible after all of this? So Gerald is sick, and he is usually our mathematician on the show, but he is still working from home. And I'm pretty sure Gerald was going to do some math, crunch the numbers, and come up with a few trade scenarios. Now, I'm not guaranteeing this because, of course, Gerald is sick, but it would shock me if he didn't at least put out a handful of the options. But just something as simple as, a package of Mikal and Cam, maybe a few other expiring contracts, and a boatload of draft picks legally, I think, can get the deal done. You just have to make the numbers work. And that doesn't mean they still can't get a third and or maybe fourth team involved as well.
Yeah, I think the only thing it does is potentially complicate that third, fourth team option, because DA was in all those three or four team deals, was the guy you were sending out to one of those teams in a lot of ways. But look, you're going to have to give up the Twins and all the draft picks if you're in on KD. So you can give up on they're going to keep Mikal and getting a KD deal done. And the people that believe that's out the window. You need that salary just to start to make it work. And he's probably the best young player you could send. And not probably, he's the best young player on the roster you could send to Brooklyn at this point. So any road to Kevin Durant probably includes Mikal Bridges at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. We also have a super chat that I want to mention. Brandon, thank you so much for your super chat. Said, that was a fast match, LMAO. That's the reaction that I think every single person had on this entire show and probably watching as well.
That was almost like an aggressive fast match. You know what I mean? Like they could have waited 15 minutes, right? It was like James Jones was telling them the whole time, like, hey, don't match or don't offer because we will match. Let's work out a deal. And then those guys in Indiana were probably eating too much fucking White Castle, and they were like, oh, fuck it, let's just give it to them. And they gave it to him, and James Jones was like, really? Really?
I still think the Pacers were trying to negotiate a sign-in trade, because we got a tweet about 20 minutes before the Shams one from a Pacers writer that said that they had continued discussions and there was some movement, but it didn't seem like they were close. So to me, this was the Pacers saying, we're going to try to get a sign-in trade done. We're sick of waiting on all this crap. And they pushed their chips in the table, and the Sun said, you don't have anything we want. We're just going to match. And that's why it happened so quick.
Also, real quick, to go back to the whole how can you make a trade happen with the Nets for KD still, we had Scoop B on our show yesterday, and he had shared that the information that he was hearing and receiving on that side of things was that most of the offers that the Nets were getting were what they consider lowball offers, which makes me wonder if the Suns had even included Mikal Bridges in any of their initial talks with the Nets, or if they were trying to come up with a way or a path to not include a guy like Mikal Bridges. And maybe now this is what's gonna force them to have to throw Mikal's name into the hat. Just potentially. That's just a theory. That's all it is for me.
Again, like Espo was saying, like this is forcing the Nets' hand. The Nets, to a certain degree, have leverage until they get to training camp, and then they have no leverage. And if KD doesn't show up, and KD's like, I don't give a shit, I'll take the fine, but I want to play somewhere where it's a consistent place. I want to play with players that have a drive and a desire to show up every single day and play ball. Like, then Phoenix is going to be the place he wants to go, and that's going to be the end of discussion. And the Nets are going to have to try and make a move to make that happen. And they can entertain all the other offers they want, but I guarantee you KD's also going to say the same thing. Like, okay, cool, you could trade for me, but I don't want to play for you either, and I won't show up, and you're going to have to deal with that shit too. That's where the players have leverage. And I truly believe if KD really wants to be a Sun, and from all intents and purposes he does, it's going to happen.
How much would you hate to be those four guys that got cut by Indy for absolutely no reason right now? Indy's like, we're cutting all four of you. We're getting DA. And then it's like, we're getting nothing, but we still cut all four of you.
I've been trying to say all this whole time, Indiana or Indy itself is like it's like an armpit town. Like, who cares? That place is boring as hell. Nobody wants to go there. And then they were in their mentions today talking about, oh, you guys are losers. We got DA. No, you didn't. Go back to your shitty city.
MJL in the chat said percentage of getting KD. I'd say like 43%. Where are you guys?
I'm about 93%.
Okay.
I haven't left 50-50. I still think it takes KD to come out and say that. And until we hear that.
No, I think I'm closer to you, Espo. So the 43% was MJL's percentage. For me, I'm probably a little bit over 50%, but I'm not willing to go up to 90 at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe 56.
Look, if I still believe that, like Flex said, it's the Nets or it's the Suns. And that's what Scoop B told us yesterday too. And I still feel like that's exactly where we're at. And to me, that's still 50-50, and until KD comes out and says, I won't play for you. So I still think there's a good chance. I also hope and I believe that James Jones is looking at other options as well. And keep an eye on, as I sound like Brian Windhorst, keep an eye on the Utah Jazz, because I still think they have pieces there that they could sell off that could really help you. And if draft picks aren't part of the future, then why not use those to make this roster as good as you can going into next year? And if it's not KD, fine. I still think, like we talked about at the beginning of free agency, there's still a path to be a better team this year by adding a shooter and a backup point guard.
Yeah, I think that the next few weeks, and really probably from now until training camp, are going to be very interesting to see what the Suns do and don't do, what they're rumored to do. If they make moves to try and shore up this roster without Kevin Durant, or shore up this roster and sacrificing pieces that maybe you would have used to get Kevin Durant. And when I say use, I mean like cap space. Then maybe we'll get some, we'll be able to read the tea leaves and understand like maybe they're not going to get KD at that point. But again, like many people have also pointed out, like that doesn't knock the chance of a possible trade scenario where Kevin Durant would come in the middle of the year as well. There's just so many moving parts. But I do tend to think that if Kevin Durant starts the season with the Nets and actually plays for the Nets, he's not gonna want to get out in the middle of the season. I don't know. I know players have done that before. Shit, James Harden and Simmons did it last year, but I tend to think that if he starts the season, he's going to play out the season. So I think if there's going to be a move, it'll be before the season starts. That would be my hunch.
Well, here's the thing. You guys can place some bets on Kevin Durant and where you think he's going to wind up over at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And if you download the app right now and sign up using our code, which is PHNX, after you make your first deposit, you're going to get a risk-free bet up to $1,000.
You could have put that 1,000 on DA today to go back to the Suns. You would have won some money.
This is potentially, yeah, you could have, absolutely. But now you can move that over, put a little wager on KD's next landing spot, whether you think it's the Suns or whether you think it's the Nets or wherever else your heart is telling you to put your money on. It's a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code PHNX only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. So we also had another tweet from Shams that I found kind of interesting. He said the Suns made clear throughout free agency that the franchise intended to bring Ayton back and were committed to spend in order to continue competing for a title around all NBA star Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and Ayton. Phoenix now goes approximately $15 million into the tax. I don't know if I just missed this, but did you guys grasp throughout free agency that the Suns made it clear that the franchise intended to bring back Ayton?
They didn't make it clear, but James Jones didn't say that they wanted to move on from him. That's the only thing that you can even go back to is that the postseason, exit interviews where James Jones said that, he thinks that Deandre Ayton's part of the future and we'll see how everything goes in the offseason. That's it. Everybody else was kind of mum on the word. So I don't know about Shams kind of glorifying that. Like, I don't think that's really the case.
So is the question I have then, do you think he's meaning towards other teams and we're basically challenging other teams to give him an offer sheet to match? Or like, where did that come from more so?
if the Suns were that adamant, I don't think that the Indiana ever makes that offer, to be quite frank. Like, there's no benefit if everybody's aware that the Suns are going to match. You know what? Again, these reporters have sources. It's either the agent or one of the teams involved. I think this one's pretty clear that it's the Suns that were providing some inside insight to Sham it there, or to excuse me, to Shams.
Yeah, you can definitely you can definitely tell. I mean, we've kind of been talking about this since free agency started, who we think is kind of like where the information is coming from the insiders that have tweeted out. And I thought it was very interesting that Shams didn't say anything today regarding DA until he announced that the Suns were matching. So in my mind, that makes it pretty clear that Shams and the Suns have a pretty good relationship where they're sharing information with each other. But that's just my take.
I mean, just like somebody said earlier in the chat said, it looks like James Jones crafted that tweet. I mean, it certainly seems that way. I don't, again, like at the end of the day, I don't really care. It's done. It's over with. We get to move on and move on from the DA trade scenario of this. And we get to focus more on who else is coming through that door, because the Suns, as they sit right now, are a top 5 team in the West. You have the Clippers, who are going to have Kawhi back. The Nuggets have rebounded because of injury. You have the Golden State Warriors, and you never know what the hell the stupid ass Lakers are going to possibly do. I'm not going to put them as a top 5 team, but they're that dark horse where if they should somehow find a way to get Kyrie, and Kyrie isn't, not playing, then they turn that around quickly, especially if you just lose Westbrook by himself.
Dallas got better too.
And Dallas got better.
And ignored the team that knocked us out. So there's still work to be done.
By the way, Christian Wood, beautiful hair.
Look, so I think there's still work to be done. It'll be very interesting between, what do we got? About 7 weeks till training camp. It'll be an interesting 7 or 8 weeks. What are we? End of September, whatever.
Why does it feel like it should be so much longer?
Jesus Christ! You said 7 weeks.
How are we already in the middle of July, you guys?
Yeah. I hope it's like 10.
No, regardless, it's coming up faster than we think, and it's going to be still an interesting handful of weeks as we get there. So
I hope we get KD, and man, if we get KD, just burn the chat, because I will never ever forget all the tweets and the chats of like, you guys are high if you think you're getting KD. There's no way the Suns are getting KD. If we get KD, oh my god, it'll be the greatest day ever.
Absolute insanity. We have another super chat from Javi. Thank you so much for your super chat. They said, what if this is all somehow a part of the master plan? Go through this process to keep DA, book CP3, and get KD? Plan the parade. Laughing face emoji.
Hey, look, this very well could have been all part of James Jones's plan. I mean, he knew he controlled what happened with Deandre Ayton, so that was never in question. But now it is, okay, can you actually convince the Nets that you have the best deal? Can you pull it off? And if not, what's the plan B to continue to bolster things here? We all wanted this to be nice and neat and happen real quick, and that's just not the way it's going to happen now. But look, applaud, congratulations to James Jones for doing this, for convincing ownership to go in to that luxury tax. And how much more are they willing to go in? I mean, Gambo reported 60, 70, 80 million, whatever it takes for what they feel like would be a championship team. All right, let's buckle up and get ready for some additional spending coming this offseason. And shout out, I know Gambo takes a lot of crap like Flex does, but Gambo was all in on this indie stuff for the last week, and had told me it's not going to be a sign and trade. It'll be it'll be an offer. And so props to him. I give him a lot of props.
Well, I'm about to give him
he
more props because he is on Twitter right now. And he did say something in regards to a potential KD trade. Said that, remember this, on any potential deal for Kevin Durant, the Nets can't swap picks they don't have. Suns could trade first round picks in a deal, but can't swap picks to the Nets because their picks are headed to Houston. So if we're talking about a combination, let's just say of 4 draft picks plus pick swaps, in certain years you can't do a pick swap because those picks, part of the James Harden trade, they don't have them. So so it makes it a little it makes it tougher for the Suns, honestly, to pull off a deal of that magnitude, but it's not impossible. They have other assets that they could trade away. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
You know who else deserves some props a little bit, or just some flowers, I guess you could say? No, Saul, not you. Deandre Ayton. Congratulations to the big fella. I don't even know if we said that. Like, this has got to be really exciting. It's got to finally feel really good for DA to have some security, know more what his future looks like. And hopefully this makes him feel better about the situation he's in with the Suns, and that everything has been mended, should there have been anything in the first place. And hopefully he comes back and just super happy and wants to continue to get better in his game and work his butt off and be a team player. Like, flowers to you, DA. Congrats.
If we haven't learned anything through Summer League, I hope we did learn this, is that players and organizations have a very short memory unless they've been done very dirty. And I just don't see this as being that scenario. I think Monty Williams and DA, for all that, hoopla, I think that's going to be fine. I think James Jones is definitely going to spin this as, DA, I've always been on your side. We just wanted to make sure that everything worked out in our favor, and they're going to move on. And this is a business. Like, these guys know it's a business, and DA's been professional this entire time. Like, he's been the epitome of professionalism, as much as we would have thought that maybe he would be a little disgruntled here and there. I think DA is going to come in with a renewed focus. He's going to be ready to go. And I think he's going to be anxious to prove that he should be that number 2 player, unless we get KD, on the roster. I really do. I think it's his time to do that, to be honest, because you can't rely on Chris Paul. You might get 20, 25 on a good night from Chris Paul, but we've seen him wear down too many times to believe that we can rely on him in the playoffs. And DA, it's time for him to step up. And now he's got that money, and the expectation is going to be high, just like it was when he got drafted. So he should be used to it by now. I think you're going to get the very best of DeAndre for the next 4 years. I certainly hope so.
Well, look, he's now the second highest paid player on this roster, I believe, since after Chris Paul's contract extension he signed last year, lowering his total or his yearly number. I still think he's going to want to be that second option on offense, and I think it's up to Monty to figure out how to make that happen. I don't want to hear that, oh, well, the offense isn't built like that. Build the offense like that now. If you're committed to Deandre Ayton now being, that number 2 guy for the long term, then treat him as such. And the money, I think the money was only half the battle for DA. He wants the respect on the offensive end, and I think it's time to give it to him. If he do it early in the season, do it for the first 3 months. If it doesn't work, then you've proven to him that's on you. We've done the offense this way, and then make adjustments, in the second half of the season. But it's time to give Deandre Ayton his love. And by the way, to everybody that said Deandre Ayton wasn't a max player in the NBA, suck it. Deandre Ayton is a max player in the NBA. He signed the deal, and it's here in Phoenix. You still got your franchise center. So enjoy that. Hopefully this ends the stupid DeAndre Ayton battles forever too.
It won't.
I will also say this, like, I heard on local radio about the fact that the Suns had tried or Chris Paul had tried to go and orchestrate the offense through DA for the first 16 games of last season. Not this past season, but the season before, the first year for Chris Paul. And they were 8-8, and it wasn't working. And so they decided to go a different direction, and that's when they started their winning streak. And I'm sitting here thinking 16 games, that's like the guy's been in the league for 2 years and you're trying to figure things out. And it's an adjustment period for Deandre Ayton as well to understand like how things are going to work. And 16 games is not a long enough sample size in my estimation. They have to stick with it. I've been saying that since Chris Paul and since DA have been here. You have to be more consistent about getting him the ball so he can fall into those good rhythms and really get into the flow of what's expected out there on the offensive side of the court. And I think, man, I really hope that this year that happens. In addition, DA has to add to his bag. He has to add to his bag. He's got to work on the ball handling, and he's got to be more consistent in taking the shots from the perimeter. If he can add those perimeter shots, just 1 or 2 a game, that changes everything for the Suns as well, just to be a threat out there. So the ball handling and the outside shooting, those have got to take a step up. I'm sure he knows that. I'm sure that's what he's been working on. I hope that's what he's been working on. So I'm excited to see a renewed DA this year.
We know he's been in the gym. I mean, that's not like it's a surprise. Of course he's been in the gym, but he did share some pictures recently on his Instagram story working out, I believe out in LA. Or at least in California somewhere, which is pretty cool.
He was doing some deadlifts.
Yeah, if you want to celebrate with DA, might I recommend celebrating with some Four Peaks beer? Crack one open for Deandre Ayton and his new bag. My cat's about to fall off this chair. Also, everyone asking, his name's Wolfie, and he's my favorite. But yeah, you can celebrate with some Four Peaks beer. It's available at pretty much any retailer around the valley, grocery stores, and the such. You can also head down to their brewery in Tempe on 8th Street. They've got all the beer available there, a whole bunch of a really amazing food as well. It's open to the public, to anyone of any age, so you can take the whole family out there. You do have to be 21 years or older in order to enjoy Four Peaks beer, and we ask that you enjoy responsibly. And if you have not already, go enter our Toast of the Month sweepstakes at gophnx.com, because if you enter that, you have the possibility of winning a $50 gift card to Four Peaks Brewery, as well as a PHNX t-shirt of your choice and a PHNX annual membership. So one more time, go phnx.com to enter into that giveaway. We have one more super chat. Pimp in the chat, thank you for your super chat, said KD wants out from a team with his best friend. Do Suns fans really want to gut the team for KD, who can change his mind again a year from now?
Yes.
I'll let you guys go first.
Yes. You want a championship? Yes. Like that's you're not Mikal and Cam, if that's the price, it is not going to be greater than Kevin Durant as an option here in Phoenix, especially not over the next 2 years. So yeah, I do it without thinking twice about it. I make sure I do that every day. There's no doubt about it in my mind.
No hesitation whatsoever. You absolutely do it. You'll find the other pieces to just supplement the bench later on. But listen, KD damn near beat Giannis all by himself last year in the playoffs, with basically James Harden on one leg and a bunch of bums. The fact that he would have Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton to try and overcome whatever adversity that lies ahead. Hell yeah. You fucking do it. You do it right now. I know people love Mikal and they love Cam because those two are genuinely good dudes and we love them to death. They really are. But damn it, I want a title. I want a parade. I want to run the streets of Phoenix in June. Well, I'm not going to say naked because it's too damn hot for that. But yeah, it'll just be fun.
Also, I think the idea that like a best friend being on your team changes any sort of situation that you may have going on with the organization is just completely BS. Let's be real. I mean, look at even Devin a couple years ago. Everyone was like, oh, he wants to go play with his friends, D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns. Like, he's going to dip out of the Suns. Just watch. His friends want him to come play with them. And Book's still Phoenix Sun. And they could have traded for D'Lo, but they didn't. And I'm pretty sure Book probably was like, listen, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I want to win a championship. I don't care about playing with my friends. I can hang out with them on the weekends or in the off season. I want to do whatever is best for this team in order to win a championship. And also, again, if Kevin Durant is having issues with the front office or the organization in general that he feels like are not going to change, just having your best friend there doesn't make it worthwhile when you're talking about your entire career that's on the line here, basically.
I really
your
thought
legacy.
I really thought Lindsey was about to say, my best friend doesn't work at PHNX and I deal with it.
Wolfie is working on camera right now.
This is my best friend. He's being super needy right now.
Look, all that you have if you're working with your best friend at a place that you're not happy in is somebody to complain to.
And somebody to be miserable with.
Yeah, like, look, just that's not a factor to me. One thing, I want to bring this up. I'm assuming this is a Pacers fan. Hotel here said Indiana hustled Phoenix. No two ways about it. Phoenix would have never given DA a max extension. They even told DA to test free agency, and they didn't think he'd get max offers. So Indiana, who's left holding their offer sheet in their hands and nothing else, hustled the Phoenix Suns by letting them get Deandre Ayton back. I don't get the math. Doesn't work on that one. You know, that there's no calculation you can do there that you could say, Indy really hustled the Suns. No, Indy lost 4 players in this and didn't get anything in return. Indy screwed themselves. They didn't hustle the Suns.
That ain't it, Chief. That ain't it. That's the best way I could say it. Like, there's just no way the Suns got hustled on this. The Suns did exactly what they said they were going to do. They were going to let him hit the market, see what he was going to get. I think they were hoping for a discount, maybe matching an offer significantly less than what was out there. But DA had the confidence in himself to get a max deal. He thought he was a max player. He got a max deal. The Suns were like, oh shit, okay, we were wrong. We will match it. And that's it. And that's business. It's okay.
So go ahead, Espo.
I was just going to say, we've got people claiming that like we flip-flop on DA. This is the one show that you always heard bringing back DA is the only logical thing to do overall. And we always said that was the number one thing you should do. But if you're hell-bent on getting rid of him, here's the options you can do. We always made that clear.
If we were talking about getting rid of Deandre Ayton to get Kevin Durant, that's a different discussion. That doesn't mean we all wanted to get rid of DA just because. Like, that's a completely different argument there. And if you've ever been a fan of this show, you know for certain this guy right here would never, ever want to trade DA unless it was for something that was really, really good. Because that's the homie. He went to this school.
I was going to say, when you brought that up, Espo, I was just going to say, I feel like our chat is a little spicy right now. And I'm not I get it. It's not a KD move. And I think that's what everyone really wants. And then I also understand there's probably people in the chat right now who are not fans of the Suns and are a little bit upset maybe about the situation.
Poor Pacers fans.
Might I recommend some scratch-made THC gummies just to take the edge off a little bit?
No,
maybe
Pacers
just
fans don't deserve that.
They don't even have legalized OGs out there in Indiana.
Well,
do they? I think they have to go out to the cornfields and sniff the hay. That's the only way they get high.
Well, if you are in Phoenix, you can pick up OGs. And also, they just launched their first ever limited edition seasonal.
I didn't
flavor
realize
Pina
Indy was going to
Colada.
catch strays today, by the way.
That
wasn't part of the bingo card.
You can check out OGs online at ogsbrands.com, or you can find them on Instagram at ogsbrands. You can also find their products at your local dispensary. You must be 21 years or older to purchase. But I would recommend I always forget which one it is. Is it sativa
Indica brings you down? Sativa takes you up. Also, I have it on very good authority because we had a meeting with OGs today, that they have some really, really cool shit coming out in September. Some things that I don't even think are out there on the market in terms of THC and CBD stuff. In September, I think is when they're going to launch it. It's going to be amazing, and I can't wait until they launch it. So just a little teaser there for you, for those of you who like that kind of stuff.
Is it edible for our friends in Indiana?
No, it does not apply to people who have to wear coveralls to work.
Maybe give them a follow on Instagram, like I said, at OG's Brands, so you're the first to know about all of those exciting new things. We've got some more super chats. Chris, thank you for yours. They said, would you be concerned of our defense if the starting five is CP3, Book, Ayton, Durant, and Johnson?
No,
Not at all.
No,
Okay.
I wouldn't be concerned at all. I think that's listen, Kevin Durant is a good defender, very much a good defender, and he's very cerebral. And Deandre Ayton obviously has proven to be a good defender as well. CP3 and Book, adequate defenders. I know Pat Bev loves to call CP3 a cone, but at the same time, he's probably one of the smartest cones you've ever seen, and is so phenomenal with his hands that he makes up for some of the difference, in maybe the lack of speed in his legs. And then Cam Johnson has been an up and coming defender. He's getting better on that side of things. So I think that's a solid 5 defensively for sure.
Yeah, DA is still going to anchor that. I don't. You may take a step back, but you were top defense in the league. I don't care if you slide into the 10 to 13 range in there. You're still good enough, and then your offense is going to be next and unstoppable. So. And
then Han said, KD will force his way to Phoenix. Watch. Han, thank you for your super chat. Fingers crossed that happens. And then Javi with another super chat. Thank you again, Javi. Appreciate you. Said, I want to see the Suns win a chip with KD and the aftermath of Matt. Hold on. I want to see the Suns win a chip with KD and the aftermath of the shit talking between him and Charles Barkley. Laughing face emoji.
Listen,
that would be next level.
Not only that, but the shit talking between him and Draymond Green too. Those two, oh my gosh, put it on pay-per-view. I will spend $1,000 to watch it because KD will have every right to come back hard at those guys for talking all that shit. First of all, Kevin Durant doing that in Phoenix in a place where Charles Barkley couldn't get it done. It came close to get it done, but not really because it was Michael Jordan. And then obviously Draymond Green's been trashing KD because basically he doesn't think that he's going to win a ship anymore. I love it. I love it. I'm here for it.
I mean, it would be a heck of a lot of fun. And I guess we'll find out one way or the other over the next however long it takes to get a resolution for Kevin Durant's situation. All right, guys, I think that'll be about it for us. Unless, did you see anything else on Twitter over the course of the last 5-10 minutes?
No, but we'll be back in about an hour and a half when something else.
When Kevin Durant does get traded to the Phoenix Suns.
I go from, hey, I'm out sick today, guys, to doing 2 shows. So, why not? Let's do a third. Let's have some fun.
You're doing it from home, buddy.
Yes,
we didn't make you come in.
It's still work.
And we asked you if you wanted to be on the shows. We didn't tell you you had to be.
Of course, I'm not going to miss the biggest day we've had. I'm not going to sit out that. I'll play my flu game. That's fine.
Hey, I will say this. Thank you to everybody out there, Suns fan or not, for coming to our stream. Yes. We enjoy the conversation as much as there's a lot of shit talking going on in the chat, but we do enjoy you guys coming to our show. Please come back. We encourage you to come back and enjoy the fruits of our labor because I think we have a pretty good show. It's entertaining. And you just help us set PHNX Suns record today for viewers. We had over 15,000 viewers today. Phenomenal. Thank you all so very, very much.
Yes. And also one last reminder, please try to stay safe and healthy this summer. I know things are kind of getting a little bit crazy out here in Phoenix. And one of the best ways to do that are COVID-19 vaccines. And right now, COVID-19 vaccines are free for everyone 5 and older. Those 12 and older are also now eligible for a booster. So visit azhealth.gov/find-vaccine for a location near you. Everybody in the chat, you guys are being so nice to my cat, and I love you for that. So you guys get all your flowers too. All right, we will see you at some point in time later on this week or next week or something. I really don't know anymore. All I know is you should turn on notifications for the YouTube channel as well as our Twitter at PHNX_Suns so that you don't miss any of the shows. Until we see you next, you can follow me on Twitter at Lindsey Smith AZ. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
The Suns aren't the only team going into the luxury tax. We are too. Wolfie, congratulations and welcome to the team. Enjoy your max deal. Ahoy, hoy.